Again, if you find the right business advisor or financial professional that you trust, they oftentimes will hopefully approach it in collaboration. So it is about understanding the who needs to be a part of that, but then also what are the skill sets and the personality types. Just because somebody, for example, a professional, whoever it may be, might have this amazing pedigree and strategy, but if you can kind of sense that they're not going to really work well with the client, you want to present the client with different options for those professionals. But to get back to your question, it's CPAs, it's business attorneys. It could be depending on how big the organization is. It could be a different business coach or a strategist. It really sounds like a catch-all answer, but it does depend on the business. But those are some kind of the staple of the professionals that would be involved.
I hope so. Are we live?
We are.
Welcome everybody to the Connect Show with Jon and Tracy. We join you each week to provide you with the resources to be successful.
And I would love to have us join us on our journey together. And so it would be wonderful to hear from you. And you can join us at Ideas at the Connect Show.
And if you're listening to this on podcast, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebooks, you can join us over here on Zoom if you want to see us in person. Kim will put that information on the link or on the where we're at on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And then what's our bit.ly link though?
It's bit.ly /the Connect Show. So this month we have, we're talking about automation and automation tools, and today our guests are going to be Ronald Berry from Miller Creek Marketing and Marisa, there we go.
Marisa.
There we have it, Marisa Zalabak, the founder of the Open Channel Culture.
I keep going the wrong way on this.
Yeah?
Next week, we're having an exciting new show with Justin Vajko with Dialogue and Benny Pacala with Birdwell Solutions, more automation tools.
All right, so that looks pretty good. So share your information in the chat, put your LinkedIn profile there so we can all connect and get in touch with you.
So each week we talk a little bit about what Jon and I are up to, and lately Small Business Milwaukee's been talking about the memberships that we have that we don't talk a lot about, but we do have a membership for local small business owners, and that's where you can join up to get a feature article. So we have Kim will contact you, do an interview with you, and then put all of your stuff into a glorified press release. We'll put it on our website and our social media, and you'll be able to use it on your website as well. So that's part of the membership. We also do a detailed directory. We have about 250 local small businesses in our directory. It's great for SEO. It's great for people to find you as a trusted source. And then we promote all those things on our social media and our newsletters. So if you're not part of the Small Business Milwaukee directory, we do have a free spot in there and we do have a paid listing in there. But I encourage everybody to check out the membership for some local promotion.
That's great information. So another thing that we wanted to talk about is we are helping people create shows. So there's an event coming up in Madison on May 18th, and the In Business magazine Madison edition, they're doing a business expo, and there's going to be thousands of small business owners there. What we're going to do is we're going to have the Connect Show live for 8 hours at this event. It's going to be fantastic. We have interviews with exhibitors. We have interviews with some different people in their organizations, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Guys, have some games that we're going to do, a little Family Feud type style.
John's totally psyched and ready to set up his stage too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all he talks about is what he's going to make it look like.
I might have to make some things just to move stuff, things with wheels on it and stuff. It's going to be pretty, hardcore nerd stuff. I'm digging it.
I'm just excited to stop the people while they're walking through the whole event and say, hey, come on over here, and put them right on camera. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah. So think of it like Good Morning America in the middle of a convention floor. So if you're in Madison on May 18th, let us know. We'd love to have you join us. And if you have any good ideas for guests, we have a couple of heavy hitters, superstars that are going to be on the show. But we can always use everybody's input so we can make this better. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, we have some fun stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm. So, Tracy, we're going to talk CRMs today. Yeah, I know. Me too. This is where we're going to really get some great coaching, and I think this is going to help us more than it's going to help them. But that's great. So, what does your CRM look like?
It looks like an Excel page.
Okay.
I've tried some CRMs in the past, and I think CRMs are great, and I think I think they're definitely important. And I think however you make your CRM, even if it's a notebook, I think you have to track your customers and your relationship with them. So I think it's important to have. Finding the right one, I believe, can be quite tricky. And I think it really depends on the stage you are in your business and how much time you can spend on that part of your business. So there's a lot of unanswered questions. But right now I am still with the Google Sheet CRM process.
What is the number one thing that's holding you back from jumping into, let's just say, HubSpot? I don't know.
The time that I have to learn how to do it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we're loading up Ronald with great ideas of things to talk about, and we can't wait to interview him and talk a little bit more about what that looks like.
What about your CRM?
So my CRM is I installed Streak on Chrome browser,
Okay.
which is a little Gmail add-on, and that's what I did.
And it's working for you?
I don't do anything. I just installed it. That's as far as I got, and then I gave up. So my two failed attempts at CRMs were I had a Zoho one, because I'm a little fan of the Zoho world, and it just doesn't do much. My favorite is HubSpot, and I'm not,
just saying that.
Just saying that because of our guest today, but it is the favorite, and the reason is because it the organization of it makes sense to me, because I think when I look at all the different ones together, for some reason a lot of them don't make sense to me. Like why is the windows where they are, the progression? And I wish I could take the time to learn how to do it so that I could utilize all of its functions.
So it's a time thing for you too, then.
And I don't think it's a time thing, because Da Vinci only had 24 hours, as we said before. But is it
creating the habit?
I think it's the must. Is it that important? Like, do I know that I would double my business if I had a CRM? I think I would. But do I believe it enough where I would actually put the time and the effort into it? So maybe we can address some of those.
Oh, yeah, that believe word.
Yeah, the believe word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we doing next?
We are, we're going to talk about your quote that you put in here.
That is a great idea, except I didn't put it up there. So relationships end too soon because people stop putting in the same effort to keep you as they did to win you. It's the honeymoon is over syndrome.
Yes, that is true.
Yep. When you first meet someone, it's all, you buy them flowers.
And I recently heard something similar to that. It might have been just this morning, and I don't remember where I just heard it, but something about relationships are people, when you're in a new relationship, you treat that person how you would like to be treated. And then after a while, like you said, the honeymoon phase is over, and then you Like, so you have to keep rekindling all of your relationships all the time.
Yep. And then you don't shave and you don't shower and
Jeez.
make weird noises, and we know how that
Wow.
goes. It just goes downhill from there.
Oh, we're learning all sorts of things about you today.
Not me. I'm saying other people, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. That's just what I hear.
Next up is vitamins for the soul.
It surely is a little Zen moment. We do. Really? So we look fuzzy. So here's what happened, folks. Something happened with the network in this building on Thursday. And on Saturday, I had to broadcast a show to hundreds of automatic transmission, car transmission, fixer people. And it looked fuzzy. And guess what? It looks fuzzy today too. So we definitely have a network issue. And what will happen is in the next 10 minutes or so, it'll clear up.
Great.
So now that we've addressed that. So to take the attention off us and see all of your beautiful faces that are not blurry, we could ask the audience what they use for a CRM. Van, you're kind of in sales, you're in customer relations, you talk to people. What does your CRM look like?
John, I'm embarrassed to say that my CRM is more of a database than a CRM.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we also kind of operate out of a niche with what we do with payroll and ongoing accounting. So we're not talking about trying to have a huge funnel to begin with, but I'm gonna use a database that really just tracks contact. But I have used HubSpot, as you said, and it's a beautiful tool. Love it a lot. And I've got a buddy who is with Salesforce, and he's evolved from HubSpot to Salesforce, larger enterprise, but they're both great tools.
I can't see who else is here.
I can't either. Kim, what do you think? Who should we call on? Oh.
Well, someone with their camera on.
Okay. Well, you know what we should do is we should take this time to get into the networking report so we can get to Ronald, and Ronald can tell us a lot about the CRM.
Yeah, because we have. Okay.
All right. There you go.
Oh.
Was not expecting this, but I'm ready. What's up?
So what do you use for a CRM? Are you currently using one?
We are big. Me and Ronald are big HubSpot guys. Came from past life, came from Salesforce over to HubSpot. Salesforce on the enterprise level or on the big company side of things, it may seem like it worked better, but in my personal experience of coming from enterprise or coming from a small business using something like a Zoho, as you said earlier, or a Sugar CRM, or even the Google Sheets, HubSpot it's an all-in-one solution. No matter what size you are, it's gonna be easy to use and it's easy to pick up on.
Well, this is going to be good. I think what we should do, let's bring Kim over. We're going to do a networking report. And when we get done with the networking report, we're going to jump into a conversation with Ronald, and we are going to talk about networking, or excuse me, CRMs, and make it happen. How's that sound?
Beautiful.
Kim?
Look who's in studio today.
I know.
And I'm looking at camera one. I love it.
I know. I'm going to just double check my ears here, make sure you're good.
Do I sound good?
You sound good.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I'm doing the networking report live and in person again today. I am going to talk about a few things. We have a lot of newer guests today, so I'm going to repeat some of the same stuff we talk about all the time. So every Friday, we have started with the Connect Show. It was previously called Epic. We've turned it into a mastermind. So John is teaching us all how to create a course, which is really exciting. And a lot of people are getting a ton out of it. I think it's kind of one of those things that you can still come in, even though we're like three in, because you repeat some of the same information. But if you have any interest in creating a course, join us Friday at 10 a.m. Central. I will put all of the information for this in the chat. Also on Wednesdays at 11:30 Central, we have a book club with Small Business Milwaukee, and we talk about Think and Grow Rich. Are we on chapter 7? Chapter 7. I will also link that in the chat. That's another one. You don't have to have come to the previous ones. We really just dive deep into the book. And the only requirement really is read the chapter ahead of time. But I think if you've read the book before, you could maybe cheat. Yeah. You could maybe cheat and still come in. It's totally acceptable. And then finally on Monday, if you're in Milwaukee, I am doing my next business over breakfast event, which has been a lot of fun. We meet at the Oak Creek Diner in Oak Creek. It's right off of the freeway, 13th and Rawson area. We meet at 9 a.m. I can't make 7:30 a.m. breakfast meetings. In the summer, I plan to attend them, but they say when you can't find what you need, create it. So I created it. So at 9 a.m. Monday morning, start your week off right and come network with me in person. We've had a great time, great show up. So I'm excited to see everyone and who shows up this time.
I'm loving it.
All right.
I'm loving it.
Bye, everyone.
That was so cool having her right next to us.
I
The
know.
networking report.
I know, isn't that nice? It's just.
I feel like a news anchor, and she's like the weather lady.
We need I think we need a green screen, and that's where we're gonna go with this. Is doing the green screen, and right? That would make it. Yes.
So we're gonna move on to our guests now. Ron is our first guest today. Began his entrepreneurial journey as the jack of all trades for a digital healthcare startup out of Denver, Colorado, where he implemented his first HubSpot CRM. After a few years of leading sales and marketing strategy, Ron dove headfirst into HubSpot consulting and implementations, which led to the creation of Miller Creek Marketing in December of 2020.
When he's not building HubSpot CRMs, Ron enjoys fly fishing, which we should talk about, hiking with his wife and 2 coonhounds in Missoula, Montana. We're huge fans of Montana because we too, like everybody else in the world, watch Yellowstone. Ronald,
Yes,
welcome
we
to
do.
the show.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Tracy, for having me.
So the question of the day is, what's your CRM tool? And I think that's pretty obvious for you, which one you like to use.
Yeah, definitely. It's Salesforce. No, I'm just kidding. It's HubSpot. I've been using HubSpot pretty much since the get-go. My business, Miller Creek Marketing, has been founded and run on HubSpot since day one. And the previous company I was at, I made the executive decision right from the start to scrap our previous CRM and move forward with HubSpot. So my whole life journey, my whole career has been living within the CRM. So I like to think I'm an expert at it, and that's kind of how I ended up where I am today.
So how have you seen automation impact small business clients in terms of growth? And we just talked about this earlier. I said, if I knew that it could double my business and I believed it, I'd probably do it. So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, and that's honestly one of the main reasons why I recommend HubSpot to small businesses, medium-sized businesses, or even enterprises, because you can start off with such a small subscription to it, even a free one, for example, and get your feet wet. So you guys are using Google Sheets and an extension on Google. There's pretty much the same version of that for HubSpot that you can test out and get up and running for free. And then you can scale with it. So when I started my company, we were on the cheapest version possible as well. I started free, went up to the starter version, which is about $50 a month, and slowly was able to build my business around it when I identified areas that I was identifying as high impact areas in my business. So marketing automation. Before even implementing marketing automation in a whole separate new tool, I already built a foundation of my CRM. And with working with a lot of other smaller clients and smaller businesses, having that kind of crawl, walk, run phased approach to HubSpot is really what kind of sells them there.
What for HubSpot, what's all included in the free version?
You have unlimited users. You have a basic kind of Google Sheet setup, I would say. You can do marketing email styles, sends. They are branded with HubSpot, which is kind of the one downfall or one drawback. But then you can house your entire database in there, first name, last name, emails, and even just start building the infrastructure for your system.
So anybody can just go trying that out. You have unlimited users, like start filling it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The one main drawback is the HubSpot branding on any forms or on marketing content. But again, the jump from free to having the baseline functionality of everything in HubSpot is $50 a month. And then that removes all the hiccups there.
The free version is really powerful and I really enjoyed using it. So give me, I've used it and I've struggled. If you were to give me 2 things that I can do every day or every week, that would just be a functionality thing. Like, I think I just don't get it. You know, I'm not a programmed salesperson, where I think in sales, it's like the lifeblood of your business.
Mm-hmm.
Since I didn't have that programming or develop that habit, like you said earlier, what is maybe 1 or 2 habits that I could do every day to make my CRM work for me?
Yeah, it's a good question. And to be frank, I'm not that salesy either. I don't push for sales or push for marketing, but having a system that structures itself around my business in the way that it's laid out is the most important. And obviously reducing the amount of work that I have to do on a day-to-day, manually inputting records and logging activity. So having it set up from the get-go, cleanly and fully integrated with your other tools. So if you use Google Mail, or if you use Outlook, just integrating those 2 tools together so everything funnels in without any maintenance on your end. That's the main thing that I would recommend. And obviously finding someone that can set it up and configure it for you and then train you on it. HubSpot has a lot of resources out there. If you go and look up HubSpot Academy, you can learn anything about everything within business through HubSpot Academy. How to send your first marketing email, how to structure your pipelines as a salesperson. They offer a lot of certifications. So having that as a resource is always something I recommend diving into in your free time when you're available.
That sounds like a powerful accelerator to get you going.
Yeah, and it's free. And all the educational content through HubSpot is free and available to the public.
So at what point should companies look towards automation as their next best step in their growth and scalability? So yeah, like what types of businesses and what spot in their business are they ready for this?
Yeah, I'm a big believer that you can automate any type of business, whether you're a small mom and pop shop, bakery, for example, or a large enterprise that we've been talking about earlier. Automation is valuable in any use case and scenario. But like I said, having that infrastructure of your CRM is just as critical. Personally, for me, I started with some just basic data management automation within my HubSpot account. So that's under the Sales Professional Suite. When I wanted to automate some of my menial steps in my sales process, such as sending out quotes or sending out invoices or copying over records from one step to another, that's the first place that I looked. As you get more sophisticated with your approach to automation, think of anything that happens post-sale. So you close a customer, now you really want to prioritize their customer journey and their onboarding or whatever happens in your business after you close them. That can all be done in a separate hub suite called the Service Hub. And I consider that anything post-sale or even customer feedback follow-up lives there. It just depends on where you want to prioritize and kind of alleviate 5 to 10 hours a week off your shoulders as a business.
So when we're talking about, HubSpot, how do you really support and empower companies to grow with the platform rather than these kind of pay-to-play options that are out there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Miller Creek Marketing and myself, we are not a full stack traditional marketing agency. We don't do email copy. We don't promise you that we're going to run your ads and you're going to get X% ROI on them. What we do is build a system that is specific to your business, and we cater it to exactly how you run your day-to-day operations and what happens currently in your process. How do you market towards people? And that's kind of the first call we do with everyone that we meet with is tell me everything there is to know about how you run your business on a day-to-day basis. And through doing that, we become kind of stakeholders or partners within your business journey and naturally become business consultants. The new kind of trendy word is revenue operations. It's considered with the HubSpot flywheel model, and it's linking everything together across your sales, your marketing, and your customer service side of your business all into one system. And that's really what HubSpot does. So naturally, as we we strictly do implementations and HubSpot administration. So naturally, as we work together, we just understand more of your business, can recommend best practices, what we see across other similar clients, since we're industry agnostic, and really just work to identify areas to improve and automate your systems.
So are you helping your clients mainly with HubSpot, or are you are you teaching them how to use it, or are you using it for them, or how does that client relationship look?
Kind of the whole 9 yards. Traditional first-time HubSpot users, we get in there, we get set up, we implement their system, we configure it to their preferences, so they don't have to watch 100 hours of Academy videos like I had mentioned. And then we train them on it. And that's always what we do the last week or the last 2 weeks, is train them on how to use the system, walk through what their day-to-day will look like from the first point of contact comes in, maybe on a form on your website or into your brick and mortar store, to the point where they become a customer and you nurture them post-sale. And that's really, we walk through that entire journey, hand it off, but then are there for ongoing support. And like I said, business consulting on, we've seen this in other HubSpots in the past. This is an area that people have automated that we've seen that you could get to in the next few steps or the next few months, and really work alongside them to streamline their business and obviously improve their revenues.
Yeah, I think the best part is that because you know the software so well, you can kind of see ahead of them, and you can say, oh, I think you should probably do this first, or do this next, or do this and this and this way, because that's going to lead you up to this later on.
Yeah, exactly. My biggest kind of promotion I can do for HubSpot is they are constantly improving. They just released a new feature 3-4 weeks ago called customer portals. And I use HubSpot, my business uses HubSpot, and I implement it right away for my business. And I can already see that direct ROI. I don't have to pay anything extra for it. It's a new feature that they push, and it is going to provide immense value for my company. And now I know that moving forwards to advise and consult other people that have the same suite within HubSpot to use customer portals as well.
I think a big benefit that you provide is when you are working with other companies, you can see good ways for this other company to use HubSpot more effectively. So crossing sectors, when I'm going at it alone, I have no idea, and I don't have that width of knowledge to see how a banker uses it, or see how a manufacturer uses it, or see all these different industries where you do. And I think that's a great benefit that would come from working with you and your team.
Yeah, definitely. And like I mentioned, we are industry agnostic. We work with B2B, B2C. Once you know the platform, once you know HubSpot, it becomes very easy to adjust to each of these different kind of business verticals. It's something I struggled with when I first started the company, and whether or not I should hyper focus and hyper niche with HubSpot and with one industry. But I realized kind of over the course of time is I learned a lot more by being open to any business. And I learned a lot more about business that I can then redirect and apply to Miller Creek marketing as well. And it's really, really cool to see what the effects have been over the past 16, 15 months now since starting the company.
So we put a page on our website with your name on it. I think Kim might have put that in the chat already, but did you have anything that you wanted to share to our audience today, special for them?
Yeah, definitely. I do free consultations or free audits if you already have a HubSpot system as well. I'm always happy to meet with you myself. I also have my director of revenue operations on the Zoom here as well, Tyler, who was speaking earlier. And we're always happy to kind of get in, give you some background of HubSpot, a potential use case, what we think maybe would be the best fit for you, even if that is the free version to start off. And then anyone on here, if you guys want to come to the website, my website, and submit a contact us form, feel free to just drop a note in and say that you're coming from the Connect show, and we'll be sure to give you all a discount for that.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been, I really appreciate all this information. I having you on the show inspires me to load up that CRM again and turn that thing on and make it work, because I know that I'm going to double my business if I have a CRM and a follow-up system, and I believe it and use that habit every single day.
Yeah. I have used it for some of my clients in the past, so I know it's a pretty popular CRM solution. And the email functionality in there is pretty good too. I've used that. It's pretty comparable to like MailChimp or Constant Contact. So if you're looking to combine all that stuff, I think you should give HubSpot a try for that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer in, last thing I'll say, I'm a big believer that CRMs are only as good as the way they're implemented and set up, because like you mentioned, it's very easy to get CRM fatigue, I guess, and you set it up and then you don't want to use it because it's causing you extra work. So,
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what I've had. There's a
Yeah.
name for that.
I guess so. I
CRM
just made that up.
fatigue. That's
So.
what I've had.
Yes, yes, it does seem like a full-time job, a whole other,
Like, I want to get a whole nother person on my team just to manage my CRM because
yeah,
that's how much I think it's like, oh my gosh, this is so much work.
or just to set it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for having the time to be on the show today, Ron. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, awesome. And with that, Kim, we're gonna do a marketing report, aren't we? Or a marketing moment.
Marketing
Look
moment.
What's happening? These are the days of our lives, the moments that make us wonderful. This is Look Who's Knocking. There we
I
go.
just knocked for myself. Bill's not here to do it, so I had to do it.
Oh yeah, you did that. That was good.
So my screen did not update on your slide,
All right.
which is not great.
Okay.
Which is not great. So I had my my information in the slide, and it did not update.
Well, you know what we could do?
What can we do?
We're gonna stall.
Okay, let's put that marketing moment back up. Let's.
Yep. Let's do that real quick. No.
Maybe I didn't hit enter.
Nope.
Sorry, guys.
Here, I gotcha. Oh, wait one moment. We're gonna do it one more time. I know this is hokey, but deal, people, deal. We got stuff to do. There we go.
There we go. Look at that. I'm not
Hold on.
used to being in
Come back real
studio.
quick.
I'm not used to being in studio. I'm here.
Okay, now we're back.
Perfect.
Nothing
Look
happened.
at that.
Do-over.
Nothing
That's a
happened.
do-over.
That can be edited out, right?
We'll cut that in post. That'll be good. to go.
All right. All right. So, tips to stand out on social media. First things first, get that CRM going, I think, because that's gonna keep your clients all in one spot, and Ronald can help you with that.
Mhm.
So you need to be available for your audience as much as possible. So social media isn't just a tool for advertisement. It's an amazing tool to build and grow relationships with your clients, customers, potential clients, whatever. You want to be personable and interact with your audience as much as possible. So don't post and ghost, I say. So post, respond. That's where you're building the relationships with your clients. It helps you to become a trusted expert and highlight your specialty and what makes you unique. So you can do it with photos, videos. People love to see the real you. So even when you make mistakes, like, not updating the slides, people find that funny.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
it's the real you. So maybe don't cut it in post, maybe keep it there, or
There you
put
go.
it in our blooper episode.
Yep.
If it's appropriate, add in some humor to connect with your audience, just like we're doing today. You got to add humor. People want to see that you're a real person, you're not a robot. Even if you're using a scheduling tool, that's okay. Go back and interact, and then you're still the real person.
Mhm.
You can also be creative, use voting, polls, giveaways. That will directly drive in your target audience. So if you're trying to increase your Instagram or your Facebook and you do a giveaway, make sure that it's a giveaway that actually brings in your target audience, not something, oh, we're going to give away an Amazon gift card and you're going to get all these people that are never going to do anything with your business. So with that, that's my marketing moment.
That
Hope
was
you
a
all enjoyed.
great marketing moment.
Hey.
We love it.
All right. I'm tangling in cords.
Tracy.
I'm just practicing saying her name to myself.
Okay.
Welcome back to the our next guest segment. See, I'm already stumped. Marisa Zalabek, founder of Open Channel Culture, educational psychologist, adaptive leadership coach, researcher, author, facilitator, and keynote speaker. Marisa has over 3 decades of experience with expertise across sectors and disciplines in business, education, and organizational culture.
I'm really impressed by a certified member of MIT's U.Lab, or is it U.Lab at the Presencing Institute. Marisa serves as a global leadership teams for advancement of UN Sustainable Development Goals and peacemaking. I am so excited to talk to you and learn more about you, Marisa. This is just very interesting.
Yeah, she's going to talk a lot about some automation that is way automated.
Yes. Yes.
So Teresa, I want to say Teresa now, Marisa, because I'm sounding it like Teresa. What do leaders understand about AI ethics?
First of all, thank you for both for having me on the show. Leaders need to understand a lot about AI ethics, but so do all of us, in fact. And I'm going to apologize in advance because I live in New York City in the East Village. So you might hear, if you hear sirens going past every once in a while, that's what we live in. Leaders and all of us, I think all people within businesses, managers, users of businesses, understanding AI ethics is going to be something that all of us will need to know more about. And very often what leaders will say is, oh, my IT people are handling it. And the reality is we all use AI. We are using AI right now. This is using AI. When we turn on the lights, we use AI. When we use our phones, when we speak to Siri, when we use an automated system like a CRM, right? All of these things are used and driven by artificial intelligence or artificial intelligence systems, automated systems. And so the things for leaders to really understand are the ethics behind what we're using. So in relation, I'll just tie it to CRMs. In a CRM, and I haven't tried HubSpot yet. That's not the one I use, but I've heard wonderful things about it. But it's also understanding who is the information being shared with? How is information being shared? How is the privacy of any number of things being shared or used? And those are beginning, those are some of the ethics behind it. And then it goes beyond that to sustainability. And is that system running at the lowest carbon footprint or not? And it gets complex, but it's also quite interesting because everything we use affects everything else that we do. So what is the information? How is information being shared is probably the most important thing that affects the CRM. Because we have there's actually something called the privacy paradox, where we all do it, when on our phones or whatever we do, they ask us to press agree.
Yeah.
And we do because
we want the next thing.
We want the next thing. And it's a lot. And the thing is, there's an unnecessary amount of disclosure and reading. If you say, I want to read through, they make it so difficult, right? And this is something that I'm an AI ethicist, and I'm working with IEEE, which is the largest engineering organization in the world that is working on AI ethics and how AI and technologies affect humanity. And it's one of the things that we're working on is the idea of how do we get the producers and the mobilizers of AI to begin to pay attention to what are the agreements you're asking people to make? What are the agreements we're making? How are we designing it? What are we asking people to sign on for? And it can be complex, but they can also begin to hire an AI ethicist. You're going to hear more and more. You're going to hear that term more and more. You're going to hear AI ethicist, just like you hear a marketing person coming into your business or a leadership consultant coming into your business, right? Each organizational culture, each one of those things requires a series of practices, right? I mean, just like Ronald is obviously an extraordinary practitioner in CRM and in marketing from that perspective. And one needs that kind of expertise right? To really kind of cut through. And I think we will begin seeing and hearing, even in small businesses, because small businesses think, well, we're not really using AI, but in fact we are. Right. So it's, and it's in small ways. But then this is part of what leaders really need to know is some very basic things, just some very, very basic things about how AI ethics may be affecting their business and their operations.
Right.
And you talked about reading the terms and conditions being so difficult. A funny story is NBC had I think an app for accepting terms and conditions for the Peacock app. They put Dwight Schrute's brownie recipe embedded into the terms and conditions. So if you want to know how to make those brownies, that's where it is. Kind of fun.
That's where it is.
And somebody read it to find that. So that was quite the adventure. When you talk about leaders, you know, I think the biggest thing is how are they going to adapt to this emerging future, to the new thing that's coming around with all this AI? They're going to have to really change their thinking.
Well, this is the majority of my business in open channel culture is not in AI ethics. It's integral. And I'm not an engineer, by the way, at all. In fact, I am the opposite. Not the opposite, but I'm learning about engineering and I'm learning about these things by studying them. But I'm a psychologist by training. And I worked in organizational culture and leadership from that perspective. And adaptive leadership is my thing. Adaptive leadership really, it's a form of thinking about leadership. It was started at Harvard Kennedy's Business School by Heifetz and Linsky. But this idea of what does adaptive leadership mean, and what do we need as we adapt, because the world's going to keep changing. Right. Yeah. That's a given, right? That's the old joke, you know, the one constant is continual change. And so there are basic pillars for and foundations for adaptive leaders. And those pillars are emotional intelligence. The second pillar is organizational justice. So equity, and how are we including equity in our business, and that's DEI, and we see how that is becoming more and more. There's a bigger focus. The third is lifelong learning, and everybody talks about that. You know, we're all lifelong learners, but the thing is, but are we seeing our business leaders be learners? Are we seeing our business leaders saying, I don't know that, and I need to learn something new? And then the fourth pillar is actually about character agility, and what that means is, instead of these are the 5 character traits of a strong leader, that what are the traits you need today? So today you might need humor and patience. Tomorrow you might need discernment and diligence. And it's, can I pick which character traits I need, right? And then on top of that, we add AI ethics. And then on top of that, we add sustainability, because that's just a real thing that's happening in the world. So it's a lot of layers. I think leadership takes a lot of layers, but I also don't think leaders should do things alone. I'm very fond, I think, we all work in teams, and we can continually step back. And I think a leader needs to be able to step back and look at the big picture, the macro, but then step into the dance floor and find out what's happening down there. And so it's a loop. There are many loops, right, that are involved. I think of it as being quite creative. I think leadership is quite creative and can be quite joyful and wonderful, even in all of in all of the changes and all the uncertainty.
A powerful statement you said was leaders shouldn't do it alone. And I think if there's any takeaway, I need to remember that one thing. And I think that's all of us, because we're all leaders in some way, whether a leader of our family, our business, our softball team, whatever it is.
It's a rule. It's a rule I learned. I was a performer many years ago in one of my past lives, and one of the things I learned in that processes, there is no such thing as a one-person show. Right? That even in a solo show or what looks like a solo show, there were many people involved in making that happen, right? So I really think it's a beautiful thing to say we don't have to do this alone.
And it's a lot more fun.
Oh, absolutely, right? So much better. So much better. Yes, absolutely.
So how can leaders transition to regenerative business practices?
We transition to regenerative business practices by reflecting on how nature happens, right? We go through cycles in nature. Things bloom. We're in spring right now, right? You're in Wisconsin, yes?
Yes.
I'm from there originally, right? We see after the snow, all those blossoms come through the snow, and we see things blossom and we see things bloom, and it goes through spring and summer and the glorious colors of fall, right? As things are passing through, and then it goes through dormant periods, and we shed, right? We shed old leaves, and we sow new fields, and then it grows again. But this idea of it's going to keep constantly growing, life doesn't happen that way. It's going to happen in cycles, right? We grow things, and then we might need to weed, or we might need to rake a few leaves, right? And then we go through it again. So I think it's a way of thinking. Becoming regenerative is a way of thinking. And the biggest principle in regenerative leadership, which you'll hear more about again in the world, is this idea that it's net positive versus net zero. People keep talking about net zero, not to damage, right? But we actually want to be contributing versus to, right, nature and to the world and to the health of the world, versus just saying leave it where it is, because we can't just leave it where it is. It's about, right, it's about how will we make things a little bit better and a little bit better. And that also is going to include letting go of some things, and that's okay. Yeah. That's okay. I mean, that's part of life, and that's part of that, you know, that's a part of business that I also think I think we can even celebrate, right? Letting go, that we can say farewell to something that it served us for a while and it doesn't serve us now, and it doesn't serve something else. So how can we begin again, right? It's that kind of brand new day, the idea of a brand new day, right?
So I'm curious about what type of clients do you work with, and how does that process look for you?
So
our audience can kind of get an idea on that.
Yeah, I work with anything from very, very small businesses. You know, I've got businesses with, 6 people, to very large businesses and institutions and organizations and schools and agencies that have very many people. And it depends on their needs. Just in the same way that I loved what Ronald was talking about, that idea of becoming a thought partner, right? That you become a thought partner with the organization and the leadership. And by becoming a thought partner, you now can say, what is it that you need? Because there is not a one size fits all. There just isn't, right? So I may need actually the same thing for a very tiny company that I need for a big company to start with. And then we move beyond that, right? But we want to also begin with the leaders. So it's beginning with the leaders, it's doing some assessments, and friendly assessments, not like we're testing you and we're going to make you wrong. I mean, why, right? Friendly assessments so that we can see what can we grow together? What can we really grow together? And that happens in many phases. If it's change management, that has one trajectory. If it's leadership coaching, that has one trajectory. Do you know what I mean? It really depends on what the group is really needing to do. If it's operations, if it's design and systems design, that's more strategic planning, right? So each one of those things I do, but I'm not going to do those things unless that's what that situation calls for.
Right. Are you introducing a lot of automation tools to them and suggesting how to use them?
No, I'm
Or
not
you're
a
just,
I'm
you're,
not a technician. I'm actually interested in asking them how they're using the tools to see if there is ethical use of the tools for themselves. And one of the most interesting phrases I ever learned in this whole world of being involved now in AI, because that's a whole journey for another story. It's kind of interesting. But is this, there's a term called intended and unintended users. So there's people who use AI because they've chosen to. I pick up my phone, I'm a user. But there might be somebody who's affected by this, who is an unintended user. Right? So there was a recent thing with the virtual reality, where there were people who were not the intended users who were affected by an incident that happened. Right? So we want to make sure when we're thinking of a new product, you're using that new product, how are you using it? Who might be affected by it? And how can we, we can't safeguard everything. I wish we could, but we can't. But we can do our best to safeguard as much as possible, right? And because goodwill, there's a price on goodwill. Goodwill has a value. We sell a business, we sell the goodwill with it, right? There's an actual price on goodwill. And when we invest in this kind of thinking about our automation, we actually raise the value of the goodwill in our business.
right.
I'm protecting my customers. I'm protecting my clients. I think that goes a long way.
That's great stuff. I'm already thinking about people to send your way.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Always happy. And I'm always happy to talk to, I don't charge for initial consultations. I think that you find out if it's a partnership, because I see people hiring somebody and it's like, do you know them?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Did you like them? Do you know them? Do you feel like you can work with them? Because I think that that's essential if you're going to be a thought partner with somebody.
Right, right.
Yeah, because honestly, I believe very much that the professional is personal.
Right.
That this idea that we can separate, I think Jon was just saying it, who I am as a leader in my family,
Yeah.
who am I a lead in my business? You're the same Jon,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Tracy, you're the same Tracy. It's that you might bring different parts of yourselves, but you're who you are. And that's part of the great resignation, why so many people left their businesses. They felt like, I don't exist here as a person. Right?
Yeah, there's definitely a shift going on with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And people want to feel that, who doesn't want to feel like I left work today and I feel really good. I feel like I was there and I mattered and it mattered, right? I think everybody kind of wants to feel that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Huh.
Well, we do have a page on our website with your name on it, with your information on there. Is there anything that you want to offer our guests today? The reaching out to you for a one-on-one, or?
They can absolutely reach out to me for a one-on-one, and there's no charge for that. That's really finding out. I always say nobody is supposed to trust me unless I earn their trust. Because I think that I wouldn't tell my daughter that. No, right? So I would say the same thing to a business leader, unless you feel that you can trust me. And it's up to me to do that. It's not their job to do that. It's my job to do that. So I'm always happy to speak to somebody and hear and see how I might be able to serve them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you. I can't wait to speak to you some more. This is going to be a really interesting conversation. I love what you said about the seasons, because we talk about that because we're in the space of growth and personal development and business development, and it can't always be summer or you would go crazy. Maybe that's
No,
why
and
everyone in Florida is a little bit weird. I don't know.
And Wisconsin is one of, I always refer to Wisconsin because I grew up in Illinois and Wisconsin, but northwestern, up past Rice Lake, up there.
Yeah.
And that is part of how, I think it's part of who I have become as an adult, was really understanding those change of seasons. And that, that for me it informed a huge amount of who I am now.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I always love that. I love we used to get all 4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
Now it just goes from winter to summer.
Yep. It's a winter-like object into
Yeah.
the summer. Thank you so much, Marisa. I really enjoyed this conversation,
Yeah.
and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, next week we got some stuff, don't we?
Yes. Well, Friday we've got our course creation. I think we're on number 3. Got 2
We
more
are
to
on
go.
number 3. We started with ideal client and getting the terminology down in the basic lesson structure, and then we went into creating a lesson last week, and now we're going to kind of put things together so that we can really start forming that course, make a module so you can get it out there and give it a try. Next week on our show, we got 2 wonderful guests. We got Justin and Benny.
Yes.
That's going to be wonderful.
Yes. Benny is an app designer, which probably should connect Marisa with him.
Yeah.
I was thinking about all the app people that I know that I could connect her to.
Right.
And Justin. So it's going to be a great show.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Thanks once again to Expansive, not just for autographed pictures of famous basketball players, but for all of the wonderful hospitality that they give us and the great coffee.
Yeah, they had a great grand opening a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Last week before.
Yep,
was a
we
lot
love
of
it. This used to be Serendipity Labs. Now it's Expansive. And the greatest thing is we can now use Expansive all over the country. So I'm going to Madison to do a video shoot for the In Business Madison thing.
And going to Expansive.
Going to Expansive. It's just great.
Yeah. It's like going to the Y. You can go to any Y you want to when you're part of the Y.
Right? They just need a gym in here.
Oh,
they should get Peloton to sponsor this place. Be rocking.
See, we're already coming up with ideas for you, Expansive. You need to put a gym in one of your rooms.
They're popping off. There we go. So we covered the fact that Benny will be here. Like and subscribe if you are on the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Googles, whatever's.
And go look at our past shows on our YouTube channel. And check out our social media for previous guests and their quotes. We have a whole line of quotes coming out on our previous guests. So
rocking the quotes.
Yeah.
Rocking the
We're making you guys all famous.
There we go. Thanks to all of you, and thanks to everybody who puts on the show. Kim, for all of the hard work that you do with us.
And Sandra for our makeup.
Sandra.
Great.
Yep. And we wish the best to Carlo. And with that, we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.